So I'm feeling a little bit intimidated now because everyone around the table seems to be an expert in inclusion and diversity, which I'm not. So I'm very honoured to be invited to speak, especially after two such knowledgeable people. But I'm going to give a bit of my personal perspective and my view of what Cargill is doing and why it's important for Cargill. So like I said, I'm not a specialist. My background is in genetics, and now I'm an intellectual property lawyer for Cargill. I've been working for Cargill for 13 years. I think that's right. Feeling very old now. And in Cargill, actually, 13 years is nearly nothing. My assistant has been with us for 43. So, but maybe I still have some qualifications to speak on this topic. I'm the president of Cargill's Belgian Women's Network and a member of the global leadership team for the Global Women's Network. I was the first ever female member of the European Law Leadership Team, and maybe we'll tell you a little bit more about the impact that has had. And I've worked on a number of inclusion and diversity topics for the Global Law Department. And by the way, I noticed everyone referring to D and I, and I've been told in Cargill that I have to refer to I and D because the inclusion is so much more impactful than the diversity itself. So I find that interesting. But I think maybe what is more relevant is just that I have a strong passion for this topic. And that's not just from my experience as a working mother and a very stubbornly driven employee, but also because of some of the personal experience that I've had over the years in my career. So in some subtle and less subtle ways, I've been subjected to what I'm going to generously call unconscious bias. It may be really blatant bias, but let's just call it unconscious bias now. So I've been told, for example, that I couldn't be a good employee and a good mother at the same time. I've been told that if I wanted to succeed, I should wear high heels. You can see I followed that advice, right? I've been told, what else was I told? That I should focus less on my career and more on my family, right? Because someone gets to make that judgment about me, knowing me only as an employee. And this, by the way, all came from my direct manager, one person, over the course of several years. He's actually no longer with Cargill. And strangely, he wasn't a bad manager, but he was a very biased manager. And it did lead me to think often about, if he's saying this to my face, what's he actually thinking, and how is that affecting the opportunities that he gives to me? So I struggled a lot with his behaviors, and I knew in my gut that they were wrong, but I still didn't want to speak up about them because I thought that somehow that would reflect badly on me, because it's a taboo subject in Cargill. And so it actually took me until last year to build up the courage to say something. And the positive reaction I got was really surprising to me and really encouraging. And I realized that actually lots of people came up to me and said, yeah, I've had similar experiences and we need to do something about this. And I realized that the silence that we had all been contributing to was actually giving credence to that behavior and was somehow an implicit acceptance of that kind of behavior. So that's what has given me this passion and got me talking. And I'm still talking, and I'm here today to talk. And I have stepped back from time to time and thought, why hasn't no one told me to shut up yet? Like, why isn't Cargill said, okay, we heard your story now, you can be quiet again. We got it. But I think fundamentally the reason no one has told me to stop is because Cargill takes this really, really seriously. And I think they really believe it's doing better at this is going to be critical to their business success. And so I'm being supported and I'm being encouraged to continue the conversation. So, Sonia mentioned, we celebrated our 150th anniversary last year. So we've been doing business for 150 years. how long do you think it's been since we've had women on our executive team? Top level. The big bosses.
5 years.
2 years.
10.
Last year. Last year, for the first time in 150 years, we had a woman on our executive team. And in fact, we didn't just have one, but to make sure we were following the trends, we had 3 women appointed to our executive team last year.
Wow, that's better.
Why now? Well, just a couple of years ago, we got a new CEO, Dave McLennan. And I'm like his #1 fan. In fact, I suspect most of the women in this room from Cargill are big fans of Dave McLennan. He's a very vocal and active champion for diversity. And I think part of that, just much like me, comes from personal experience. So he has daughters, and we mentioned the impact that that can have. But he also has a wife who was a lawyer, and he watched her go to interview after interview as a very talented lawyer. And the interviews would go extremely well. And then they would ask her if she was planning on having a family, and she wouldn't get the job. Because there was this bias against recruiting people who might want to have a family, who might become mothers, who might need to take some time off. There was perceived to be too much of an investment and too much risk. And so I think he's taken something from that, and he's really determined to do something about it. And I think that's really changed, it's kind of caused a cultural shift in Cargill. So we have now a CEO who's appointed, he's really restructured and said, right, I'm done with the old leadership team, and here's my new leadership team, and it's going to have women in it.
We need to invite him.
Or he must be a candidate for the next woman at the board.
We have to get him into our agenda.
So he's very vocal about it, but it isn't just, I've heard people before, I think we've mentioned it, lots of good talk, right? But never doing anything. But I've heard so many times, if we just wait long enough, the change will happen. We have all these great women who are graduating now. If we just wait long enough, in fact, this is a direct quote from our previous CEO, the change will happen on its own. Which was such a frustrating message. I'm like, but you're just telling everyone they don't have to do anything. And so now we call him DMAC, Dave McLennan, who's putting his money where his mouth is. And he's saying, it is important, and I'm going to do something about it. Which means no more excuses for other leaders.
Wow.
So you can't say anymore, oh yeah, well, we think it's important too, hey, but we're not going to do anything. People have to do something now because our CEO is doing something. And I think this has somehow encouraged other people who are big supporters to come out of the woodwork, who may have felt that the time wasn't right, or who felt too intimidated before to say something, to stand up for women, to come out of the woodwork. So we were able to form our Belgian chapter of the Cargill Women Network just last year. And as we did that, I thought, okay, one of my priorities is going to be to go and speak to the business leaders and understand how we can support them in their business goals. And I thought the first person I was going to go and talk to was, and I'm not going to give his name, there's a very senior business leader who, frankly, scared the hell out of me. He's a very sort of, I don't know, he's not even Dutch, he's Belgian, but he has a very Dutch sort of manner about him, very imposing, quite intimidating, and not very smiley. And I thought, well, I'll go and talk to him first, because if I can manage to talk to him, I'll be able to talk to anyone.
New York.
Yeah.
New York.
But wait, he is one of the biggest champions for gender parity I've ever met. I was completely shocked. And we actually just had him speaking to us for one of our International Women's Day events. He agreed to join the panel, was super passionate about it, and came out in front of everyone and saying, we should have quotas. Really, like that much of a champion, we should have quotas. We've had quotas for the last 150 years. If you wanted the job, you had to be a white man. And actually, in speaking to him, everything that you've been talking about, like why it's critical to business success, he's the first person who expressed those things to me. So I've learned a lot from him, and I hope I will continue to learn from him. I think it's not just DMAC, it's not just our CEO, but it's a number of business leaders that are increasingly realizing we need to get more women into our teams because it will be critical for our success. And so maybe a little bit of what I'm going to say now will be repetitive of what you've already heard, but I think it's worth reiterating over and over again until it becomes sort of accepted knowledge. We've been saying now, you know, last year was our anniversary, and over again I heard, what got us to where we are now will not get us to where we want to be over the next 150 years. So we need to change. It may have been acceptable 50 years ago to have an all-male executive team, but it's that the world has changed, and we need to change with it. So we heard, for example, that 80% of purchasing decisions are influenced by women at least. And we're a food company, and we're making ingredients that go into your soft drinks, that go into your chocolate, that go into your yogurt. Go into any supermarket, who's pushing that trolley? Predominantly women. So if we don't understand their needs, their wants, their desires, we're going to miss out on a huge market opportunity. We just simply won't understand our markets if we don't have women in our teams. And I think our direct customers, so the likes of Unilever and Danone and Nestle, they got this a while before we did. So I think we're trying to catch up still. And they have more and more women in their management teams. So it's now no longer just a question of, do we understand our markets, do we understand those who are making the purchase, but also, can we communicate properly with our direct customers? If they are coming to us with a management team that is diverse, and we're going into the room with all our white men again, how does that reflect on us? Are we able to communicate on the same wavelength? And if we're not doing that, I'm pretty sure our competitors are, so we're going to lose out to them. I actually had an experience of that on my scale, in my little legal world. We were looking for a law firm to outsource a big chunk of work, and we had a long list of people that we reached out to, and based on the written offers that we received, I invited 2 firms to come and talk to us. The first firm turned up, and it was 2 men, and we were 2 women interviewing them. And they were clearly competent people, but on their paper document, they had talked a lot about the importance of diversity for them. I thought, okay, great, this is a value that is very much aligned with mine. So I asked them about it. I said, what is your program? How are you investing in diversity? They kind of looked at me blankly. Well, you know, we have chemists and physicists and biotechnologists in our team. And indeed, there are, you mentioned it, there are various different elements to diversity, but they so didn't get my question. I mean, we're sitting here 2 women, and you're 2 men, and we're asking you this question. Surely you have something better to say than we have different scientists in our team. The next firm that came, the second one, came with 1 man and 1 woman, and when I asked them the same questions, they were able to speak just as passionately about diversity as they were about their legal expertise. And so, everything else being equal, I mean, these were 2 competent firms, I went with the company that had values that aligned with mine and with Cargill's, because I knew we would be able to have a stronger working relationship. And so they lost out by being behind. And I know that will happen to us, and it will happen to other businesses who aren't able to.
Did you tell that to them?
Yes, I did.
Ah,
They were. I honestly don't think they understood. I think they were so disconnected. Because they called quite angrily. I said, "Why didn't you select us? We came all the way there. We put a lot of effort into our offer." And I said, "Yeah, and you're very competent, but I'm looking for a company that I'm going to feel comfortable working with, that has similar values to mine." And I explained it. And I think they were just baffled. I really don't think they got it. So I feel sorry for them in the sense that I think they're going to lose other business for the same reason. So, what else? We've mentioned it as well. Over 50% of graduates are female. 60% even. Now I think we saw some figures. Yeah, we saw some figures the other day. In some countries, it's higher than that even. So it just becomes simple math. If we're only recruiting men, we're missing out on a huge chunk of the talent pool. And yet again, that just means that our competitors have no competition for half of the talent pool, because we're not going out and trying to recruit, and someone else is going to recruit these people. Someone else is going to be ahead of us. And so yet again, we'll lose out. And you know, again, I think it's the same example of and it's not just about whether we're accessing a certain part of the talent pool, but also whether that part of the talent pool wants to come to us. If I was a candidate looking in, the first thing I'm doing is looking at whether I'm going to be treated fairly. Do they already have strong female leaders who are influencing? Do I think I have an opportunity to rise up? And honestly, I look at, whenever I'm thinking of hiring a law firm, I look at their webpage and I look at their partnership and say, okay, how many female partners do they have? But I wouldn't, you know, if I was in the position of actually wanting to go and work for one of them, I wouldn't even consider applying to the ones that don't have any female leaders. Because for me, that sends a very strong message about their values. So even if we do want to tap into the full talent pool, if we don't have a good brand on this, we're not going to be able to attract the top talent. And so once again, we'll miss out. And then we've talked about higher performing teams. This is again something that that leader, the intimidating leader, said to me. He said, it's just a fact. Diverse teams perform better than non-diverse teams. They have a greater breadth of experience to manage different challenges. And boy, is the world throwing challenges at us at the moment. The food industry is over capacity, and we're in a very difficult field to get customers at the moment. We need people who are adaptable. We need people with different perspectives. We need people who can deal with the change in different ways. I keep on being told, you know, change is the new normal. The world is changing at ever increasingly fast, I don't know how to say that, pace, and we need to be able to adapt. Diverse teams are better at adapting. So, and then finally, the engagement point. So, Sonia, you shared that we count inclusion in our engagement index, and we count it equally to whether people feel safe or whether people feel like they're being paid enough. So it's not just about can we recruit the best talent, but can we retain the best talent? Can we get them to perform highly? Because that's how we'll succeed as a business. And people who feel like they're being treated fairly, like they're being given equal opportunities, like they are appreciated for the value that they bring as an individual, are going to feel more included and more engaged, perform better and stay with us longer. So again, it's a way for us to win. And we have good results in spaces, but less good results in others. So I think it's a space, you know, that we can continue to develop. So I don't think there's any doubt. I do think there are still doubters, but there's no doubt that diversity and inclusiveness is going to be a critical factor to our success. So what are we doing? I mentioned the Global Women's Network. It was founded in 1986, so quite a long time ago, but at the time it was just a teeny tiny group of people in the US. I had a conversation over lunch about, you know, is Europe ahead or behind the US? I think in Cargill, at least, it's the only company that I can speak for, the US has been way ahead of us. So like I said, they've been doing this since 1986. They have teams that are for gender, the LGBT teams, in the law department we participate in Black Lawyers Associations, in Latin American Lawyers Associations, so there's a very strong focus on diversity. It's only more recently come to Europe, from my perspective, in terms of how we deal with this as a company, but we were able to form the Global Women's Network last year, and now we're working with our businesses to see how can we help them overcome their challenges and use the diversity that they have to achieve their business goals. So we're just starting out, we're fresh, we're trying to figure things out, but it's something that the businesses and the corporation is behind, is giving us funding for, which I think is, it's a change, it's an evolution. We have programs in place, management trainee programs in place where we're actively seeking to bring young female talent into the organisation and actively seeking to promote them up to management levels. I think our target, and I'm now looking at Helga, is for 30% women at manager level or above.
Yep.
When? I actually don't know. Do you know if we have a
As
timeline?
soon as possible.
As soon as possible. And it's just 30%, but it's a start. It's better than no target. So we have a target. We have in different locations, I know in Vilvoorde, they have a great program to try and bring women back on stream. So women who've maybe taken some time out of their careers to care for young children and have either intentionally or unintentionally been sidelined. We have a program to try and bring them back into their career path and refocus on their development. So we have a number of things happening. We've been engaging senior leaders in the conversation. We're more and more trying to bring men into the conversations, to your point. We're a very small team right now in Belgium, but we already have 2 men on our women's network in Belgium. Sinan is one of them. And so yeah, we're keeping that conversation. We're starting the conversation to begin with, and then we're keeping that conversation going, not just amongst women, but men and women at all different levels within the organisation, across different businesses, across different geographies. We had an event back in March for International Women's Day where we engaged thousands of people across the globe in an online conversation around the importance of diversity, the importance of women in the workplace, some of the struggles that we face. And I was surprised and pleased to see how many of us senior leaders engaged in that conversation, from our CEO to our enterprise leaders, to our business leaders, to our functional leaders. We got a really good conversation going, so we've broken the silence at last.
Was that at an international call you made?
We had online,
Yeah, we had sort of Facebook within Cargo.
Okay.
It's quite comparable to that.
Okay.
Yammer, you know Yammer?
Yeah.
So it's under
Yeah.
Yammer. So we created a page for
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
also we invited leaders. So every alpha work,
Yeah.
we had a leader who dedicated 30 minutes of his time, so DMAC.
And was there also a webinar with it? Was it with a camera on it? No, it
No,
was
there
just
was
written.
writing. So they were
Okay.
answering questions, they were
Okay.
asking questions, and the conversation was going all around the world.
so
for
people
24
were
hours.
sharing their experiences, giving advice to other people, sharing.
Everybody.
Yeah, and so during 24 hours, basically from Asia through to Europe and Africa, Latin America and North America, we had people participating at all different levels. And it was just a really powerful moment for me to see the level of engagement in having this conversation. So we're making progress.
Super.
Thank you, Cass. Thank you so much.